सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति। You've done the first line of the 8th verse. Just reminding you. Yes.
Sir, I had a question from what you said in the last class.
Yes.
At the end of the last class, you were saying Arjavam.
Ah.
It's possible only if you have strong conviction and conscience. And
Yes.
conviction and conscience are different from Raga and Dvesha.
Yes.
Right? So if you're going by Raga Dvesha, it is not Arjavam.
Right.
So is it possible to have for worldly things in the world? Is it possible to work with conviction and conscience?
Yes, possible.
It's possible.
Conviction is possible. Conscience is not possible.
That's what.
Conscience is not in the world.
And how do I know whether I'm going by likes and dislikes or by conviction?
If you have intellect, you will know. Otherwise, you will never know. You must have the discriminative ability to understand the difference. This is different from that. That's called buddhi. It's not easy to decipher because the conscience is also inside you. Raga Dvesha also is inside you. Both are inside you. How will you distinguish? Because both will look very same. Because both are thoughts, okay? Put it, simply. Saying this is also a thought, that's also a thought. And most of the time when you say, my conscience is pricking, that is to do with your past conditioning. You see, it's not conscience. It's your conditioning, that's about it. For example, a person who is conditioned and brought up in a particular way, that non-vegetarian eating non-veg is sinful. Right? By mistake, if he takes that into his mouth also, will feel like what? Oh my God, I feel so guilty, sir. I'm feeling so sad about it. I'm feeling so bad. If I go to Ganga, take a dip, will my sin go away? This is what? This is not conscience. This is what? That's your conditioning. You are conditioned. Because from childhood, you have been told. You see, from childhood, you have been having. We've been constantly, you have been brainwashed, as it were, to believe in certain things. Whenever you do actions which is contrary to those beliefs, something pricks inside you, which is what we generally call as conscience, which is not conscience. That's your conditioning. Not easy to decipher. That is why in the hierarchy, in the scriptures, we have a hierarchy. How will you evaluate what to do and what you should not do? They give the system there. What should be the authority? Authority is the Shastras. That's what Krishna says in the 17th chapter. Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Karya Vyavasthitam. What is to be done, what is not to be done. Who is the authority? Shastra is the authority. Suppose Shastra is not available. If you don't know Shastra, you are not taught. Right? You don't know. What is the Shastra saying? You don't know about it. What do you do then? Then you go to a Sishtachara. Those who are Sreshtas, those who are of great men. Live like them. Right? not take their advice. If you're taking their advice, that's called Shastra. Remember. You see, no. Sishta Achara means the way they live, you live.
So Shastra is including guidance of the Guru.
Yes, it's all inclusive. Everything is included there. Shastra includes Vedas, Smritis, Puranas, Itihasas, Sutras, Kavyas, all put together is called one word, Shastra. So in our system, that's what Dayananda Saraswati used to say. Beautifully used to say. When you go to other religions, they'll say one book. You come to Hinduism, you'll say, welcome to the library. There's no one book here. The Veda itself is 4 Vedas are there. And the Vedas claim Veda to be Anantavai Veda, infinite. There's no end. Goes on and on and on. Smritis, and then the Sutras. And of course, Sutras means including the Bhashyas and all those things. That is also, Shastras. Then you have this Bhagavad Gita, Ashta Ashtavakra Gita, Yoga Vasishta, all these books. All these things were all called Smritis. And then you have this Dharma Shastra, which are also called Smritis. And then you have the Kavyas, Kalidasa's works, etc. Shastra. When will you finish Shastra straight? Not possible, sir. Not available. Okay, then go to Sishtachara. Sishtachara means those who are of that Sreshta, those who are of great men. In your time, don't say Ramachandra lived, Harishchandra lived. You don't know whether Harishchandra is actual character or it is just a fictitious character. We have no idea of verifying. Wait. How will you verify? We don't know those things. So when they say Sishtachara, what they mean is those who are in your vicinity. And the current problem is what? Modern generation's problem is what? There is no role model we have in our vicinity. If at all you have a role model, you have a role model who is far away from you. How many of you know Rahul Dravid? Rahul Dravid. Therima Rahul Dravid. You know Rahul Dravid? Role model, no? What do you know about him? Shah Rukh Khan. What do you know about him? I'm not saying he is good or bad, please. What do you know about that person for you to claim he is my role model? But if you were to go back and ask your grandfather, grandmother, they would always refer to some uncle or aunt or neighbor. They never had role models who are far away. They always had someone who is so inspiring to them within their family circle. My friend's father, on another person you got to ask, that maternal uncle, single-handedly that man brought up that entire family. Entire family, not he, his wife, his child, please. The entire extended family was having some status because of that one man. What a sacrifice. How much he could have done to himself, his wife, his kids. But he says no. What an inspiration, man. If you live, you should live like him. Now you go and ask these youngsters. First of all, they don't have role models. If at all they were to have any role model, it's all where? disconnected to their life. What you see in the newspapers and what you see in the social media, what you see in the Twitter, what you see in the YouTube. They have a fancy car, therefore he is my role model. Weird. Who is your role model? That's what we call as Sishtachar. Sishtachar also not available. What to do now? That is a point where we consult the conscience. Shakuntala, Kalidasa gives a beautiful scene. I'm sure most of you should be familiar with the story. Shakuntala was living in this Kanva Rishi ashram as his daughter, adopted daughter, child. you know. So she's just taking that and he's living there. The king Dushyanta comes one day for hunting. When he comes for hunting, they inform him that his attendants inform him this Kanva's ashram is nearby. The moment he heard Kanva's ashram is nearby, he says, "I'll go and pay visit. I have to pay respects to him. I'll go and see him." And when a king goes to a rishi's ashram, he is not supposed to go with his entire attendants and all that. So he says, "All your attendants stay here. I'll go alone." And he removes his armor and his krida, this, everything. All that comes along with the king. He removes everything, just one dhoti and one vastra, angastra. Puts that and walks in. As he walks inside the Kanva ashram, he sees Shakuntala. Right? He's seeing her for the first time. The first thought that occurred in Dushyanta's mind was, "It's marry her." A thought of marrying her. Dushyanta was very perturbed. He says, "Oh my God." Obviously, from the appearance, who is she? From the way she has dressed, where she is living, very clear that she is Rishi's daughter. Who is this guy? Ordinary king. Look at the difference, sir. Rishi's daughter is put in a higher pedestal. He's a king, okay? Not a small king. He's a Maharaja. It's not a small, one small territory he is ruling. He is ruling a vast land. He's a monarch. Panjay is a king also. He's a monarch. How can you get such a negative thought? This is a small Saludaki, he writes. Kalidasa. Dushyanta starts criticizing himself. He says, "How dare you entertain such a gross thought? Such a, sinful thought. How can you entertain that? You should not have entertained this thought, Dushyanta." And then his mind gives a reply. Hey, so far in my life, I have never ever entertained an adharmic thought. If such a thought would have occurred in my mind, that means it cannot be adharmic. It has to be dharmic. But the reply, Dushyant's mind gives a reply saying, "Hey, I have never entertained a adharmic idea in my life. Therefore, if a thought were to come, that means his mind had lost its capacity to think anything adharmic." Kalidasa helps us there. You are qualified to consult your conscience if you are like Dushyanta Maharaja. Otherwise, take it for granted. What is it? It's not conscience. It is vicariously backdoor entry of your ragadvesha or your past conditioning. You see, first understand these 3 points. Any time you are going to be having a discussion, query about, am I true to my conscience? Ask, remember these 3 points. Number 1, backdoor entry of your desire, raga dvesha. Number 2, your past conditioning. Number 3, are you qualified to consult your conscience? Are you fit? That is the next question we ask. What is the next? Dushyant. These 3 words you remember. Kalidasa is very beautiful. If a thought has come into my mind, how can that be other me? Which is true, actually speaking. Why? Because Shakuntala is a daughter of who? Not see, he doesn't know all these things. Shakuntala is a daughter of Vishwamitra. Who is Vishwamitra? A Kshatriya. He has not become a Brahma Rishi at that time. He has not even got the title of a Raja Rishi. You know, the episode of, Menaka, alluring Vishwamitra happened very early stage of his spiritual sadhana. So at that time, so he was not a great, he was still, what is it? He is still Kshatriya only. He has not yet attained that Brahma Rishi title. He has not reached that point yet. If it would have happened after that, Dushyanta wouldn't have got the thought only. The fact that he got the thought, and it is true, so interesting. It's a fact. And it's the same with reference to this girl also, Shakuntala also. The moment she saw Dushyanta, love at first sight, they say. Both sides. Like how Rama and Sita, of course, this is not in Valmiki Ramayana, because in Valmiki Ramayana, Rama and Sita did not meet. They never met each other. Kamba Ramayana, they met each other. That's a, imagination of Kamba. That's about it. Valmiki Ramayana, they have not met each other. The moment they saw each other, they fell in love. And after that, this Sita gets the message. There is somebody called Rama had broken the Shivadhanusu. Now your father is going to get you married to this man, this boy. And Sita is so scared now, because she has already fell in love with some fellow on the road. And in the, not like these days, let's meet in coffee day. That's no such thing, So what to do? Now she can't go and tell her father also. Now, is that, no, dad, I am already, no chance of all those things. But she's very smart. She wanted to see whether this man is the same. So she enters. She can't look at him, so she's looking down. At that time, she's just, tries to adjust her bangle. She has a diamond studded bangle she has. She adjusts that. When she's adjusting that bangle, the light reflection, the sunlight comes and hits that, and that dazzling light reflection, everyone, closes their eye for a second. Within that second, she looks at that fellow and saying, problem solved. How smart she must be. Eh? And Sita, it's amazing how these poets, how they visualization and imagination, unbelievable. The bridal makeup. It started early in the morning. Bridal makeup for Sita, because Janaka is a big king. So he has told this bridal makeup people, you want Sita to come out absolute beauty. They say, okay, we'll do our best. We'll try our best. Makeup should be pakka, okay? And instructions were given. And they were doing makeup. Muhurtam is only evening. Reception evening now. Makeup starts morning. They have done, there is one specialist for hairstylist. And one person for her face. Another one dress. Another one is for hands. Another one for nails. Another for toe. They have done, all that makeup. The whole team has done the whole work. Then all of them stand apart and look at her and make a comment. Extraordinary comment. How much ever we try, we're not able to reduce her beauty, no? Her beauty is not reducing at all. What does it mean? You had a makeup, no? Marriage. What do they do? Makeup means what do they do? As though you people never heard of all these things. You are looking at me. Say,
Make you look better.
right. What they do? After doing all those things, what they do, sir? They keep one drishti puttu, no? They keep one. So all these 7 hours of work for these fellows is what? They are attempting to put the drishti puttu for her. Still, everyone is seeing her beauty only. What do you do with this fellow? What an imagination. How will you describe that beauty now? What should be the beauty of Sita now? After so much of work. So what was the instruction given by Janaka now? So now you have to go back to see what was the instruction of that king. Look here. Those who see her, should not see her full beauty. So what you have to do? Bring it down to the worldly level. These guys can relate only to X. Now this girl, my daughter, has X to the power of N. Now your job is what? Bring it down to X. And the people say, you have miserably failed. Not able to reduce at all. Infinite beauty. Now, how will you find a heroine for that? That's why this classical literature, you should not go by this, visual. That's why you should read classics. Because in classics, when you are reading, now as I'm explaining this, each one of you will be visualizing Sita in a particular way. See, that visualization is what is expected from this classical literatures. Now you make a movie out of it, you put a person there. What happens? Deepika, no? Lady who acted Ramanand Sagar. Deepika. Nowhere near Sita of my imagination. That's what the beauty of classical literature. Classical literature, you should read that. Don't try to see this in the movies. It's because it's not possible. They can't you know give it. You get the information, but then what is intended by this classical literatures, you will never be able to get it. You see the story, conscience. Conscience is the last thing you consult. Why? Because it is a compromise. Why it is compromise? The conditions required to consult conscience has a lot of conditions associated with it. Therefore, it's not recommended. Conviction is possible. So that is why we say you must have a conviction. Build your conviction. I'm convinced about something. That's called having a conviction. I'm totally convinced. It's called conviction. Yes.
So does it matter where that conviction comes from? Because conviction can also come from likes and dislikes.
No. Conviction is a conclusion of your thinking.
Intellect.
Yes. Likes and dislikes cannot give conviction. Likes and dislikes will give you more of conflict. Because the moment you say, I like this, understood is anything other than that I don't like. I like coffee with sugar means I don't like coffee without sugar. Understood. Unless you are such a pathetic condition, anything you give, I'll drink. That's a beggar. See, day before we were standing the roadside, they're having tea. So one lady came. Have tea? He said. First, she didn't understand whether I'm joking, whether I'm serious. Then I asked her, would you like to have tea with sugar or without sugar? She looked at me like, I want tea. Again, I asked her, with sugar or without sugar? Well, I'm having tea without sugar. Now, I can't buy her and say that, you have to drink what I'm giving. He said, just give me tea. Very beggarly attitude. If you are a beggar of the world, the senses, anything is okay, sir. Slightly better is ragadvesha. But that also comes along with the conflicts. Conviction is the best. Live out of your conviction. That conviction comes after a careful consideration and scrutiny of the ideas. Not just a whims or fancy. It's not just an impulsive thought. I must do this. I should not do this. It's not that, please. It's to do with your deep rooted conviction. You are convinced. You are totally critical. You have processed it. You have analyzed it. You have questioned it. You have seen the pros and cons of that particular position that you are going to take in life. And you have to take some position in life. You cannot take, I'm not going to take any position in life. You take some position. So when you're taking a position in life, you must have this clarity to understand what are the pros and cons of it. After considering all those things, you are accepting something. You're taking up something. That is called a conviction. Right. That can be with reference to anything. Yes.
The three things that you said, which is one, the Shastras, the role model, that also requires a mature enough intellect to decide how to interpret the Shastras or to pick the right role model.
No, that's where you have the learning, teaching. Shastra, you can't pick it up and read on your own. That is not possible. Shastra, you can't pick up on your own and read. It needs to be decoded. See, Shastra is exactly like a CD. It has all the information, but you need a CD player, no, to convert it. Now you keep looking at the CD, what you will get? You can put your bindi looking at the CD at best. Use message. More than that, what you can do with that? You can't use that CD. You can't get that information out of that. You need a CD player. That's called a teacher, guru. Now that's what the next quality, Acharya Upasana. Acharya Upasana is, why do you have to worship Acharya? Because even though the knowledge is there, but it needs to be decoded. That the decoding, if it is not done the way it is supposed to be decoded, you can decode wrong things also. You can deduce wrong things also out of it. So without you getting into wrong conclusions, directing you towards the right conclusions of the Shastras, you need a guide. On your own, you cannot do it. Ideal method is get the Shastras, learn the Shastras, and live your life. Sir, that's not an immediate one. It will take time. Even if you say, yes, I'm going to be studying, how long it will take? If you do full time, minimum 7 years. Sunday morning, 7 Janmas you have to go. Every Sunday morning, I'll come for your class. 7 Janmas you have to go. That much time is needed for you to understand. Right? That because that's the subtle subject. It's not a direct one. It's not easy to pick up and say that I'm going to understand it. Very subtle it is. So we say you need someone to guide it, but guide should be available. Also, it takes time. Till such time, what to do? Till you get the understanding of the Shastras of your own, what you should do? Role model. Sishtachara. When Sishtachara is not available, see, the way you do things, the way you have to function, you cannot not act, you have to act. Then what to do, sir? Consult your conscience. Very poor substitute. Conscience is a very poor substitute for Sishtachara. Sishtachara is a very poor substitute for the Shastra. Nevertheless, sometimes we do require those substitutes. So understand the hierarchy. Most ideal, Shastra. If not, Sishtachara. If not, conscience. Get it? Yes.
For consciousness, the ways that it is, you mentioned about the 3 things about that it's not a backward entry of your conditioning and also not the other evolution. So essentially, if I have to, let's say, if one has to make an attempt to improve or improvise on his consciousness, he has to intellectually know that it is not my conditioning and it is not operating on only then that will be fine.
Exactly, correct. That's why I gave you those parameters. So first parameter is you must have such an innocent, pure mind. 1. 2, no particular raga dvesha. 3, no past conditioning. So 2, no, 1, yes. Remember, always you should have both with you. Never keep the parameters as only no or only yes. You should always keep the parameters of both. Something should not be there and something should be there Only when these two things come together, it's complete. Otherwise, it's incomplete. So that's why I always ensure that, I give both. So okay, now I have no Shastra, no Sishtachara. Now I have no other choice but to consult my conscience. Now, how do I know whether I am actually consulting conscience or in the name of conscience something else is I'm doing? Using the word conscience, but I'm doing my own things. How do you know that? For that, I gave another 3 parameters. Parameter 1, ensure that there is no backdoor entry of your ragadvesha. 1. 2, it is not your past conditioning that is getting, trigger here. 3, ensure that you do possess an innocent mind, a pure mind. Example, Dushyant. Dushyanta Maharaja. Right. Arjavam means integrated personality. That's called Arjavam. There is no disintegration. Thought going in one dimension, you say something, you do something, all going in 3, different directions. No, it's all going in singular direction. This Arjavam, in Tamil they give a beautiful saying. Ullangai Nellikani, they say. Have you heard? Therima? That also I have to say. She's saying, yeah, I thought maybe she knew that. You only told. Ullangai means, the palm. It's called Ullangai. Nellikani is gooseberry. Arjavam, how your life should be. Your life should be like that of Ullangai Nellikani. Keeping that gooseberry on your palm. It should be like that. It should be so transparent and so clear. I was wondering, why gooseberry, man? Of all that, jackfruit would be better, no? Difficulty is holding it. Mango, they could have kept mango, could have kept, some other fruit. No, why they have kept gooseberry? Why gooseberry?
You can see through it. It's like it looks like glass. You can see the seed inside.
Fascinating. The way these guys have analyzed, superb it is. If you take that gooseberry, you will see there are lines. There's lines there. You break open, inside there's a seed. Okay? The seed also will have same lines. And the lines of the seed and the lines here are aligned. That's why they say it should be like gooseberry. What is inside and what is outside should be the same. What you think is what you should say. What you say is what you should do. There is no distortion here. Like similar cuts you can see even in the, pomegranate. Pomegranate also has the compartments. But you can see those compartments only after you cut open. Before that, you will not know. Before that, you think it is one round. But here, it is so clear the compartments. The seed also contains the same compartments. Same line. Superb. That's why it's called Ullangai Nellikani. Arjavam. No, sir. You translate, it doesn't give that punch. Gooseberry in your palm. Memorize it better. Palm kuda illaya.
Oh, but why it is on the
Visible, no? It's so transparent, it's so clear. It should be like that. When you have anything that is on the hand is visible, isn't it? If I keep my mobile also, it will be visible. Anything on the palm is visible. But it is so easy for you to close your fist and make it invisible. Mango close panava, we'll know you have something. Gooseberry, if I keep it in my hand and I close, it will look like what? I have nothing inside, no? I can close it and keep my fist in such a way that it is empty inside. He says, no, it should not be like that. Your life should be like what? Arjavam, that quality. Open. It should be there. You can see it. What you see there is what is inside also. So what is outside is the same as what is inside. Amazing quality. Arjavam. A must quality for Indians. An impossible quality for South Indians. One quality you will not find from South India is Arjavam. How do you practice? That's where conviction comes. Conviction. When you have that conviction, first thing in Arjavam practice, what you should do? Go back to your house, check the clock. 10 minutes fast, sir. For what? So many places I've seen this. 10 minutes. Why are you keeping it 10 minutes fast? What are you going to achieve by that? Who are you fooling? Huh? What's the time now? They will also, 8:20. It is 8:17. If it is 8:17, say 8:17. Don't say 8:20. 3 minutes. Say that, no. If you say that, practice it. Arjavam. Quality. In Japan, they say, if the train delayed by 3 seconds, 3 seconds, 3 seconds, the train gets delayed. The driver stands and apologizes to all the passengers. If it is more than 5 seconds, reimbursed.
There will be 10 seconds.
10 seconds, no? Influence of Indians. No. Now they made, earlier it was 10 seconds. Oh, no. Now Indians are more there. I said, 10 seconds? How do you run, man? It's not that, they are having only one train moving, You see that network, so complex it is. Punctuality. Similarly, if you are not doing, get that. Now, what is the upaya for that, sir? Punishment. Arjav. Otherwise, your personality will get disintegrated. Remember, the split. This is what today we are calling as, everybody is depressed and everybody is having this problem, psychological disease, this one, that one. All this is because of what, sir? There is no alignment. There is disalignment. Get that quality. Acharya Upasana. I don't know how to explain this quality. Honestly speaking, of all the 20 qualities, the one quality I find very difficult to explain is this. Acharya Upasana. Other qualities can be very eloquent. It's so easy to be eloquent about it. Acharya Upasana. Quality is almost impossible. It's a fascinating quality. See, Upasana, literal meaning, the word Upasana is worship. So Acharya Upasana means worshipping the Acharya. Understood, all this is understood as right Acharya. You know, anybody, in the costume you don't take as Acharya, please. Right? Now, Acharya, who is that Acharya? All that is an independent thing. Now, we are not worried about that point here. Right? That's not the purview here. The purview here is he calls this Acharya Upasana as Jnanam. The beautiful one. Worshipping the Acharya. Means here it's not taken as just the worship, it's that adoring and worshipping that Acharya expressed in the form of service rendered to Acharya. That's what it means. So Upasana, one meaning is worship. Another meaning of Upasana is meditation. Right? There's another meaning for Upasana. So Acharya Upasana means meditate on Acharya. So serve the Acharya, meditate on Acharya, and worship that Acharya. The service that is rendered to that Acharya. Why you have to do that service? Because there are three ways in which they say the knowledge is gained by anybody. There are three means. One way of gaining knowledge, which is very, very popular, is you give wealth and take knowledge. All the schools and universities, what are we doing? You are paying the fees. The teacher is teaching, correct? That's one way of gaining knowledge. I give you money, you give me knowledge. Exchange. This is one. Then there is another way of gaining knowledge. Second method. I'm giving you in the hierarchy of which is more subtler, which is more superior. Superior than that is I give you knowledge, you give me knowledge. I don't know Vyakarana, but I know Tarka Shastra. You know Vyakarana. So what do? I come and tell you, hey, I will come and teach you Tarka Shastra. You teach me Vyakarana. I'll teach you this, you teach me that. So both of us will be having knowledge. So I give knowledge and take knowledge. The knowledge that I possess, I give it to you. And you have some knowledge, you give that knowledge to me. So we exchange knowledge. Right?
Bartering. Just like bartering.
Bartering, yeah, right. Sort of, yes. Is what these people call as collaborative learning. Like students do that in college, schools and all, have you seen? Hey, this portion you study, man. Okay? There are 10 chapters. All 10 chapters, I can't study. So what do you do? I will do two chapters, you do two, you do two, you do two, you do two. Then what do you have to do? I will teach you fellows the 2 chapters which I have studied, and each one will teach the others the the two chapters. This way also knowledge can be gained. You can gain knowledge like that. This is another way. First method, you give money, wealth, gain knowledge. Second method, you give knowledge and gain knowledge. The third one is you serve and gain knowledge. That is what he is referring here. Acharya Upasana. You serve the teacher and gain knowledge. In fact, you are serving the teacher only to gain knowledge. You have no other interest. No, the service is rendered only to gain knowledge, nothing else. Now we move to the next question. Okay. Why should I practice this? Why can't I give money and gain this? Is it possible? You can try. He will not give knowledge. Nor can you go and tell him, sir, you have Brahma Vidya, I have stock market. I am an expert in stock exchange, stock market. So I will give you stock market, you give me Brahma Vidya. Huh? Imagine Ramana Maharishi, you go and say, I'll give you stock market knowledge. You give me Brahma Vidya, Atma Vidya. You say, what? Not first two methods are not possible in the context of Brahma Vidya. In the context of learning the Shastras, first two not possible. See, you cannot gain that knowledge by giving him money, nor can you gain that knowledge saying that we will exchange. So the only way is what? Serve. In that process, you gain knowledge. So first two method ruled out. So therefore, and there is no fourth method. Remember, there is no fourth possibility. I have tried my best to see the fourth possibility. To my intelligence, I could not. If any one of you find a fourth possibility, please let me know. Self-learning not possible. That is ruled out. Self-knowledge, Brahma Vidya, you will never gain self-knowledge. Self-taught is an impossibility here. It's exactly like saying a person is going to learn Chinese language by himself. On your own, did you learn English? No. Which is superior knowledge? English or Brahma Vidya? Which is superior? Brahma Vidya is much bigger. That's the meaning of the word Brahman. Brahman means big. That which is bigger, I can learn on my own, but small things, I can't do it myself, sir. If you want me to, shift the building, that I can do. The Twin Towers, they were planning to shift it. So they called me, I shifted it. I took it on my shoulder, moved it. But you asked me to lift one cylinder. That I cannot lift. But that I can lift. Hey, you can lift a mountain, right? You can shift with this. Why break it, sir? I'll lift it and push it this side. Easy, no? That I will do, but this I cannot do if a fellow says, he's blabbering, we say. Isn't it? That's blabbering. If you need external assistance to learn the lower Vidyas, how on earth you believe that you can be self-taught when it comes to the higher vidyas. As I think now, people keep saying that. You should, all that you need is just that self-awareness. God is within you. Why do you have to go to temple? God is everywhere, no? Ah, yes, sir. Give him tea in bedpan. Ask him to drink. God is everywhere, no? What is your problem, man? How can you do that, sir? This is not allowed. There you talk. Is it practical? Is it possible? So self-teaching is ruled out. No chance. And how do you gain this knowledge? To gain this Brahma Vidya, there are certain preliminary qualifications needed. Is it not? To gain the knowledge, you need certain qualities. You need certain qualifications. What is the fundamental qualification needed to gain knowledge? First quality.
Discipline.
Brahma Vidya needs something else. Discipline is needed for any knowledge. Law. Can you study law without discipline? Impossible. Can you study accountancy without discipline? Engineering without discipline? Look at those, students who study MBBS, doctors and all that, MDs and all. Oh, slog. 18 hours. A day has 24 hours. It's not that they are having 26 hours. 24 only for them also. 18 hours if they are studying. What do they do? You need that much of things. But one thing is exclusively needed, which is not a necessity for other knowledges. Lower Vidyas doesn't require that knowledge. That qualification is not needed. But this is one additional thing which is compulsory here. It is purity of mind. For Brahma Vidya, what is additional? Understood is all the preliminary. You have to be committed, you should be, you should be industrious, you should be disciplined, you should be all that is common for everything. So anything which is common for everything, we keep it aside. What is so specific, what is so unique needed for this knowledge is the mental purification. This knowledge needs that. Purity is needed. Pure mind means, what is impurity? Arrogance, ego, selfishness, attachment, all this. Anything that is agitating, negative. When you are egoistic, it is agitating. Therefore, ego is negative. Selfish, agitating. Therefore, it is negative. Unselfishness. Right. Attachment is negative. Love is positive. Why? Guilt is negative. Why? Because it is agitating. No? When you feel guilty, you feel relaxed or you feel disturbed? Disturbed. But guilt is a negative thought. It is a negative emotion, negative feeling. So pure mind means the mind which doesn't entertain any negative. What will give you that? Number one. What will give you that one is, it says, what will give you that is the seva, the service that you render to Acharya. makes your mind little pure. You become more humble. That humility comes. How your humility comes, you'll explain that, okay? Humility comes there. Yes, sir.
Is purity comes by birth or by practice?
Practice, not by birth.
Not by birth.
By your effort. Practice means effort. You have to put an effort to purify. Because natural purification is not there. It's very easy to get dirty. If you don't do anything, okay, you take it at the physical level, it will be very easy. At the physical level, if you don't take bath, what will come? If you don't brush, foul smell, no? You feel uncomfortable. Forget about others, right? You yourself will feel. But the moment you have shower and come, you feel what? So fresh. You see, any purification is possible through effort only. If you don't put in effort, automatic is what? Impure. So the first thing that is needed for you to gain this knowledge is the mind should be little pure, not absolutely pure. We are not talking about absolute purity. If you have absolute purity, you don't need the Shastra only. Right? You don't require Acharya. You know, to gain this knowledge, you need a little purification. So because you need to understand what is the context of this Acharya Upasana? What is the effect of Acharya? Why there is a need for it? Second one is another aspect. We are discussing about conviction, no? Just before, we are discussing about conviction. How will you get convinced about something if you have not seen the effect of that pursuit? Is it possible? See, conviction comes always how? By actually seeing the possibility of living it and enjoying the fruit of such a lifestyle, isn't it? Without someone who lives plus enjoys the fruits of that knowledge, how will you have conviction on the knowledge? So you have to see someone who's living life, interacting with people, but at the same time not attached. A close association, everyday contact, but absolutely not attached. Only when you see someone who is living that is where you will gain that conviction. Yes, detachedly, I can maintain my relationship. Otherwise, you will hear the lecture of what? In relationships, you should not get attached. Detached, you should live life. Very good, sir. But practically speaking, you'll go out thinking what? But practically, is it possible? That doubt will always be there in your mind, which will never allow you to get convinced about the possibility of living. This possibility comes only when you have that someone. That's why you say conviction. How do you get that conviction, sir? Rendering service to that Acharya is a via media for you to go and see him transacting with everything, but not attached at all. So objective, so detached. Okay. Otherwise, you will talk a fantastic lecture on detachment you will give. One scratch on the car is enough to show the real face of the fellow. One scratch is enough. Otherwise, you will talk about what knowledge, what understanding, what wisdom, what interpretation, everything will be there. But then, just one mark is there enough to expose everything. Shallow, yeah, big deal. The day you buy a car and keep it outside is going to be what? All that you require is what? A fraction of a second lack of concentration. Is there? God, one fellow, I remember. This guy. No. This man banned his wife from driving. Says, next, now you are absolutely out of driving. You are not fit to drive. And the lady had all that thing was she just made a mistake of taking a wrong turn. She took a wrong turn and hit tragically his own car. Both the car got damaged. If it is some other car, now you wouldn't have bothered. Yeah, you'll give one lecture and go away. Right? Now you got to claim insurance for both the cars, which means from next year. And this guy went up to, what? As there. As having dinner. This happened outside. You're having dinner. That fellow didn't eat that day. Breakfast. For 1 week I was there. For 1 week that fellow's discussion was only about that car. And I was there 4 days before that happened. 4 days, what philosophy? Sometimes I extend the class because I'm so frustrated. Because I never get a chance to talk. Everybody talks to me only. Everyone gives philosophy to me. I say, enough, man. Like one fellow was telling, I have these books with me. Would you like to have those books? I said, enough of with philosophy with me. I asked him 2 magazines. The fellow dropped. Huh? I said, do you subscribe to those magazines? I would love to see that. I said, what? What do you think my house is? He said, sir, this is not used at all. I said, why you buy that? 4 days, illusions and Maya, and is asking me to explain, what is illusion and, theory of perception and illusion and karma, all that. One dent in the car is enough to expose. How will you have conviction? You tell me. Is there a possibility? This is what all of us say, Sir, I'm learning this, but nobody is understanding in my family. How will they get convinced? Because they are seeing you day in and day out. Have you shown any maturity? Have you demonstrated any objectivity? When you are not able to demonstrate, when you are not able to live it, you can't fake it, remember. One of the ways in which we get that conviction is through the seva. Because when you serve that master, you're there. So you see him through very many situations. Extraordinary situations to the most pathetic, most brilliant and most dumb, highly devotional people and highly indifferent people. With everyone, the transaction is what? That's where you get the conviction. This knowledge is livable. Otherwise, no point in gaining knowledge from the Acharya and going back with the thought that all good to talk, but good to talk, but sir, why? This Acharya Upasana. Because your conviction will come. Always remember, you are convinced about the necessity of wealth. Why? Because you have seen the consequence of having it. Is it not? The power of possessing that wealth. You have that. The security that the wealth gives to people around, the way they walk, the way they talk, the way they behave, everything is totally different. It demonstrates something, sir. So you have seen it. Since you have seen what wealth can give you, you are convinced about wealth, therefore you are pursuing wealth. You have not seen what this Brahma Vidya can give. How will you know? You have to know, no? How will you know? Seva is a method of getting closer to the teacher. It's amazing. Second one. Today we've been discussing everything three. I'll give you one more. One more reason I'll give. Conviction. Second point is conviction. First one is humility, purity. Second one, conviction. I'll give you one more. Three. The knowledge when you are gaining, the way we gain knowledge is through the scriptures getting decoded and taught. Correct? How do you learn from Acharya? You come to the class. We sit here in the class and explain. What is this? What is that? What is this qualification? What is this? All this is done, right? But then, as a student, you might be in a need of a particular advice. Apart from teaching, you would be requiring a specific advice. How will you get that specific advice from the Acharya? Generally, we'll say all that you have to do is what? Karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga. Practice karma, bhakti, jnana. That's it. What to do for karma, sir? All this is what? General, right? But when you are in need of a particular advice, which is needed for you to handle that particular scenario, some inhibition of yours, or some temporary situation, or some specific emotion, right? A specific negativity. How are you going to get a direction to handle that? Because it is so difficult for you to ask in the class and say, sir, it's not possible. So many things in our life, we will not be even able to spell it out. Because if you spell it out, it will look very ugly. But it's there. According to you, it's ugly. Not according to him, please. Okay? For you, it is so uncomfortable, but it is there. And it is disturbing. What is the solution for that? You cannot say, I'll take an appointment and come and meet him. That also will not help. That way also you will not get. The way you have to get it is keep serving. Stay in the vicinity. Stay in contact. Stay contact. Stay connected. Stay connected. Stay connected. Either without you even knowing, he will pull you out of that. Or he will give you a specific advice as to what to do for that. Without even discussing and telling. It's unbelievable. This. See, that's why we say Acharya Upasana. Fascinating word. That's why I find it difficult to explain. All the qualities, 20 qualities of a jnani he gives. 19 qualities I can be very eloquent. No difficulty at all. When it comes to this Acharya Upasana, I find it very difficult to explain. Because it's such a grandeur one. Just keep serving. Just keep serving. That's it. That's more than enough. That itself will give you. Now, what it gives, we don't understand. We say, what it can give? The conviction that you get, you don't require so much of information. So much of input is not needed. All that you require is just one statement. One bit of knowledge is enough. Pick up the whole thing. But the tragedy is that one bit of knowledge to go deep inside you and get itself settled. You need this association. The only way you can associate with the Acharya, Guru, is going there to serve. You cannot enter saying that, let's have a discussion. It will not work. Fascinating quality. Acharya Upasana. Now, beyond this classes, beyond this general advices, when you go and serve him, you are exposing yourself to him. You've got to expose your personality to the Acharya to correct you. When you are not serving him, you are not exposing yourself. When you are not willing to expose your personality, there is no way that your personality can be worked on. That's why this knowledge was never given to masses. Always, they say, Gurukula Vasa. The students were going and living with the Guru. That's the only way. Why? Because one day he will say, wake up, you idiot. How Vishwamitra wakes up Rama. Which is the thing in all the Venkateshwara temple, any temple you go. First thing, Venkateshwara Suprabhatam starts with what? Kaushalya, Supraja, Rama, Purva, Sandhya, Uttishta. Uttishta. Get up. Same thing Krishna says to Arjuna. Uttishta, Arantapa. Same thing Upanishad says. Uttishta. Get up. But the tone is very different. When Vishwamitra wakes up Rama, that Uttishta is very different. When Krishna is telling Arjuna, Uttishta is very different. The Upanishadic master telling the student, Uttishta, is Yama telling Nachiketa, Uttishta is very different. Word is same. But that the whole bhavana is very different, which transforms each one of them. See, how do you get it, sir? That is possible only when you expose your personality to the Acharya. When you're exposing yourself only, that is where a possibility for growth, development, all such things. Eradication, whatever. Governance, modification, change, transformation is possible. Otherwise, it's an impossibility. Therefore, Krishna says, Acharya Upasana. See you next class.